Well, good evening, everybody. We have more breaking news at Realist News. From today, August 8th, 2011, 30,000 college students kicked out of food aid program in Michigan. State's new eligibility rules to save $75 million. More students got aid than thought. Michigan has removed about 30,000 college students from its food stamp program, close to double the initial estimate, saving about $75 million a year, says Human Services Director Maura Corrigan. Federal rules don't allow most college students to collect food stamps, but Michigan had created its own rules that made nearly all students eligible, said Brian Rooney, Corrigan's deputy director. As a result, the number of Michigan students, college students, on this form of welfare made the state a national leader. For example, Michigan had 10 times the number of students on food stamps as either Illinois or California, Rooney said. Rooney, say you weren't on Ferris Bueller's Day Off, were you? You know, the Principal Rooney? Anyways. Cutting off the students is part of what Corrigan says is an effort to change the culture of the state's welfare department and slash tens of millions of dollars of waste, fraud, and abuse. Quote, maybe students can go get a part-time job. That's what I did, said Corrigan, a former justice of the Michigan Supreme Court who attended Detroit's Marygrove College and University of Detroit Mercy School of Law. Quote, we want to encourage people to be self-sufficient, not to be dependent on the government, she said in an interview with the Detroit News. This is kind of a double-sided, double-edged sword here. Yeah, we need people off the system, but in a state like Michigan, which is completely destroyed, you know people need food stamps. So, but critics say the state funding has shrunk the tuition, that state funding has shrunk and tuition has skyrocketed since Corrigan attended college in the late 60s and early 70s. That's true. They cite Michigan's still battered economy and say the suffering the cuts will create won't be apparent until after cash-strapped students return to campuses this fall. Corrigan, appointed, of course, politician easily appointed, can say anything they want, not really living down here in reality, down here on earth. They're in la la land, dreamland, because they have a position that was appointed, they were appointed to by another person who feeds off the system, us working, of course, taxpayer dollars. It's real easy for them to say, hey, go get a job, which I think is what they're about to say. So, Corrigan appointed by Republican Governor Rick Snyder in January to head the $6.9 billion Department of Human Services, has also ordered administrators to start looking at applicants' assets, not just their income. That move follows an uproar after it was revealed Leroy Fick of Auburn remained eligible for food stamps and continued using them after he won a $2 million lottery on the TV show Make Me Rich in June 2010. Sure, you would think you'd have to look at someone's assets and their income both to determine if they need to be on food stamps or not. Sure, that does make sense. But out of those 30,000 kids, did 30,000 kids win $2 million lotteries? No. As a matter of fact, I'd be willing to bet that that person was the only one out of those 30,000 kids that actually won the lottery. So, if cutting millionaires off food stamps is a no-brainer, some say cutting off most students is less clear-cut. Kayla Neff, a 19-year-old Spanish and computer science student at Central Michigan University who qualified for food stamps in September, said it's tough to find a job in Michigan, particularly for students with little experience. That's pretty typical of the entire college education system across the entire United States of America. You got a college degree? Nope, we don't want to hire you. Do you have a college degree? Yes. Do you have experience? No, I just got out of college. We can't hire you. So let me get this straight. You need me to have college degree, yes, and experience on the job for several years, yes. How does one go about doing that when you first graduate college? Have a nice day, sir. This job position has been filled. No more questions. Thanks. Then you come to the conclusion, I should have scrapped college years ago, worked my way up into whatever industry you're wanting to get into, and then make it that way, as opposed to wasting all that time in college and phenomenal amounts of tuition fees, etc., student loans in college, only to find out that you can't get a job anyways and you got to have experience to begin with. Therefore, there's a crappy job just slightly above what a college graduate would get that will put you in and let you work your way up. But wait a minute, I got a college degree. I thought I wasn't supposed to work my way up. I was supposed to have a nice paying job from the beginning. Pay back all these student loans. No, you still have a crappy job just a smidgen above a person with a high school diploma who doesn't have any debt, but you have debt, and you have a tiny, you're making $1 an hour more than them. Good job. Good job in that college education. So this bozo who graduated in the 60s and early 70s, remember that video I did a while back? 1950s, only approximately 5% of the population in America had a pretty high degree, like a BA, bachelor's degree. Fast forward till now, 1 out of 4 has one. That's 25%. 1 out of 4 applicants has one. So there's no demand anymore for a college education. But all these businesses and industries that were built up upon that 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s industry are now sitting there saying, hey, we can't stop pulling in money. Let's keep pushing the ads out there and get your education. Now you can even get it online. Go to the school online. It's cheaper. Only to find out you're still in the same boat. There's still 1,000 more people out there looking for a job right now. The same job you're looking for. You just got out of college. You're all excited. I'm going to get a good paying job. I don't have to live like a slave. Only to find out, yes, you do, because the people who are also putting in resumes and applications for that job have college educations. Matter of fact, possibly better than your college education, and they've been working in the industry for years. They're not also a kid, so to speak, 18, 19, 20, 21, 25, etc. They're 30 and 40 years old. Who do you think they're going to hire first? The bozo out of college with no hands-on experience? Or the guy that has hands-on experience and college education and is now definitely an adult? Been past an adult for a good while now, who in other words has been through life, is not immature anymore, etc. That's the kind of guy or girl you're going to want. So it's so interesting. So this 19-year-old can't find a job, and it's tough. She said that her and her father share about $150 a month in grocery money from that food stamp program, which, quote, made all the difference in the world, but her eligibility is now under review. Students should be focusing on their education, not whether or not they'll be able to eat dinner or whether they can manage to find a job and balance it on top of their studies, this girl said in a Friday email interview from Mount Pleasant. CMU was singled out by Corrigan as having publicized students' eligibility for food stamps on the university's website. University spokesman Steve Smith said Friday he wanted to research the issue, but, quote, I am confident no official CMU site would promote this kind of activity. No. Government wouldn't do that either. Nah. So anyways, 30,000 kids are going to get the scrap off the food stamp program in a state that is in dire straits. If this had been any other state, excluding California also, so 48 other states, you could say, well, good, maybe they need to clean out some of the, fluff and the excess waste in spending. But at the same time, knowing that just 3 years ago or so, 26, 25, 24, somewhere around there, millions people were on food stamps, and now we're at 46, 47 million. You can't say, well, that's just a student problem only in Michigan. No, it's probably a problem everywhere. And now these kids, 30,000 students, go back home, live with mom and dad, and do whatever you can, work part-time in a crap job with your fantastic diploma, AS, BA degree, whatever you got, and then just work the rest of your life to pay off this loan while you live in mom and dad's basement. Is that the America that you were taught when you were growing up in school? Is that the America that you were led to believe you were living in? You were proud to be an American. proud to fight for my country. We're the best. We liberate the people from the bad guys' hands across the world. It's what we do. Yeah, we give out billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars to other countries in need. But wait a minute. What about all these homeless people in these tents? Right? Remember that video yesterday? Pastor Dowell did one too, which is where I got it from. Billions aren't going to them. Matter of fact, 5 cents isn't going to them. Matter of fact, the basic necessity of a human being, shelter, a house, something to live in, isn't going to them. So, the rest of you, be a patriot, support our troops and wave your flag while they're over maiming and killing other people for the bankers and the oil cartels, because that's all that's happening, right? Iraq, 2003. Yeah, they're gonna pay for that with the oil revenues. That's all we heard. We don't have the money for that. Although we're going to get paid from Iraq's oil revenues. They're going to pay us. All the politicians were saying that. Did we get 1 red cent from that? No. But guess who, after we spent all the, $1 trillion or whatever over there these last 10 years, that was taxpayer expense, government/taxpayer expense. But the non-government, non-taxpayer entity known as the oil companies, the three major ones, you all know who they are, got the most fantastic oil contracts in all of the oil reserves in Iraq. After we cleaned out, the bad guys, and it was somewhat of a safe place, at least safe enough for these oil companies to go in and start drilling and pumping oil. Not even necessarily drilling, but pumping the oil and getting X amount of dollars for every gallon or barrel of gas that comes out of the ground. Barrel of oil. And they're making profit hand over fist. It didn't cost them 1 red cent to do that. We were used as a country and a military power to do that and clean up for them, as you can clearly see, because we've left Iraq in shambles now. There is no rebuilding. There is no recovery over there. It's another lie that has been proven. Show me the recovery. Show me the building of these new buildings and schools and all this crap. Show it to me, because every video I've seen, even in very recent times, shows complete wreckage, bombs going off, voting happening, another bomb going off, and supposedly in the green zone, the safe zone. What is that? We were used, as we said long ago, it's for the oil, it's for the oil. No, it's not, no, it's not, that's sick, the United States wouldn't do that. No, the United States wouldn't do that. Our troops, our boys and girls over there fighting wouldn't do that knowingly. But it's all a matter of chain of command. From the president on down to the generals, on down to the peons at the very bottom who still think they're brainwashed over there, we're fighting for these people. And then they get over there and realize, maybe we're not fighting for these people, they want us the hell out of here. Well, that's weird, because all the news and media and government back home in America told me the opposite. And I thought I was coming over here for a reason, but now I'm stuck because I signed on the dotted line for 4 years, or whatever you have to stay there for. Now what? Well, now you better follow commands, you sheep, because if you don't, you're going to get thrown into military prison. See how that works? Sorry about your luck. But we'll pay for your college education if you sign up for the military. Ooh, well, I come from a pretty poor background, so I think that sounds good. And if you make it back alive, maybe it worked out for you. Only to find out you couldn't get a job on the way back here because there's a million more Americans standing in line before you got back for the same job. Which is funny, because out of all the numbers of suicide rates in the military, there's just as many suicides from people who were in the military who get cut off of that list of being considered military because they no longer are in the service anymore, and then they go home and commit suicide. They don't count as a military suicide. They count as just a normal, statistical, American, who knows who they are, suicide. So the numbers you hear of X amount of troops have come back and killed, or over there, come back, active duty or whatever, killed themselves, you take and double that number. Because that's how many non-active duty troops who are completely gone from the military and don't count as a troop anymore come back and do it anyways. So why would they come back? Why would any freedom-fighting, American-loving, helping citizens in other countries from tyrannies come back and kill themselves? I have an idea. I don't know if I'm right, but I'll go ahead and share it with you. They realized that they were duped the whole time after serving and coming back. Had something to do with killing innocent people, that they realized there's no bad guys here. They were just wanting us out. So I killed someone in their family or whatever happened, or I even just witnessed it from one of my platoons over here. Innocent people got slaughtered. And now I'm awake, but it's too late because I have to stay here and fight for 4 years until I can get out of the military. And now that I'm finally out, the guns are away, the bombs going off are done, I'm back home in America where it's civilized. And all this stuff is on my mind that I had to do with, that I knew I was part of. But my ego and my inner being won't allow me to admit I was wrong in my thoughts that my country was the greatest and I was so patriotic and this and that, because it tore you down so bad, removed those things that you thought in your head so far from what you thought, completely crushed them and proved you in your face because you were living it for 4 years over there, that when you came back you could not cope with it, you could not deal with it, your mind could not cope with the change of what you thought it should have been like versus what it was really like. And you're not going to say that to anybody because nobody wants to admit they're wrong, especially on something that's part of who you are, which is your country, your nationality, that you're supposed to be patriotic for. So you just quietly kill yourself, leave a little note, whatever it says, and the end of it. And then you go off into some statistical number where you're completely irrelevant. So hopefully some of the troops out there, or people who are graduating right now who happen to be watching my video, are thinking to themselves, I was thinking about going and joining the military. That might not be a good idea anymore, even if it pays for my college. Because you know what Obama did recently, where he said, oh, we're going to get these Mexicans that are illegals right now, we're going to offer them two choices. Go to college, you don't have to, and when you're done, we'll let you stay in the country, give you your citizenship. Or, other option, if you can't afford college, of course, which most of them probably can't, because they live pretty poor, unfortunately. It's what it is. So, option 2, sign up for the military, again, for 4 years or whatever. Do your time, and when you're done serving this country, because you serve this country, you get to be a citizen. Yeah. That lets you also know how desperate they are to get people to join the military, and also is going to let you know there must be a big war on the horizon that they're prepping for if they're so bold as to pull in illegals to fight for us, because not enough Americans anymore are standing up and wanting to fight. And they've exhausted what we have over there. And again, Gerald Celente, myself, I've told you there will be some kind of event again. Another 9/11, some kind of inside job. It'll be blamed on some bad guy. There's always, always, always a bad guy, a fall guy to take that spot when he's needed desperately. And when they've played out all the cards, the economy's completely collapsing, as we're seeing right now. The stock market's diving all across the world. People are going to be furious about their retirement and this and that. But what would be more important than you focusing on that? A very brutal 9/11 Part 2 2.0, worse than 9/11, to get your focus off of your life and your retirement and your well-being, and be more scared about this terrorist threat that we better immediately handle. Put that on hold. Let's handle this terrorist threat, which of course leads us into World War III probably, which will probably again have people running into the military offices to join, to be patriotic after they see the terrorist attack 2.0 take place, or whatever the hell they're going to call it. Just like 9/11, you couldn't stop people from joining the military. They wanted revenge so bad for what they did to our country, only to find out that they were duped too. So, maybe millions of people are fixing to go die in World War III. I don't know. But I don't plan on being a part of that. And I don't plan on being in any kind of city area where I might be a target should that type of thing occur. So anyways, I've yapped long enough. I hope this video was helpful in some way. If anything else, bringing to your attention the nonsense in our government and states and the proof that we are in collapse mode. So, that's it. Have a nice day or night.